good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching us or listening to us from. You are following the Gambian Talents TV. This is your host, Pa Usman Youth, on a special program that we will be having with you guys. It's going to be a special day. We are very glad to be here with you once again to bring you a special program. And today we have a special guest in the person of lawyer Sergio Barrow, a US-based Gambian, of course, an attorney, somebody that is doing very well in, of course, supporting our community, in representing our community, doing a lot of things. We are proud of him, a young man. He is not a stranger on this platform because we have hosted him multiple times and several times. Anytime something happens that, of course, affects our community, we will bring him on board. Of course, we are all aware of how the world is going right now. It's not a joke. It's not a hoax. It is real. It is happening. We are seeing how immigration is affecting the world. Just earlier this week, on Monday, in the Gambia, the European Union ambassador to the Gambia, of course, organized a media press breakfast where different media houses were invited, including our own platform. And we engaged the ambassador and asked him several questions, including the one that talks about immigration and how our people are being deported from Europe. A few months ago, he had a press conference in which the ambassador to the Gambia, European Union ambassador to the Gambia, announced that the European Union will start to send illegal migrants out of Europe, those who have exhausted every means, legal and otherwise, have no reason to stay in Europe. And Germany, of course, is where most of those migrants will be coming from. That interview is right there on our page on Facebook and on our YouTube channel. You can watch it live from there. We are not going to play it because we don't have a lot of time. Right now, what we'll be discussing is specific to the United States. Will some of what we talk about apply in Europe, to Europe and other continents? Most definitely. Here to help us break it down is lawyer Sergio Barrow. For the past 2 years, since President Donald Trump took over the White House here in America, we have seen how things have been going. He did his campaign mostly on immigration. He was very powerful. Immigration was a key in his campaign. Since he took over in 2016, he's been trying to put this to test. In his first 30 days in office, he came up with a travel ban, of course, which has been challenged in a lot of courts. He also came up with several other policies that affects immigrants. And right now, we've seen earlier this week what happened between himself and, of course, the Democratic congressional leaders, in which they talked about different things, and he was asking for the money that he wants them to give him. He threatens to shut down the government if they don't give him the $5 billion that he is asking for. Now, us, the Africans, the world does not definitely affect us, because I don't think we come to the United States through the wall or through the southern border. But yes, there are indeed some policies that affect us as immigrants in the United States. Here to help us make sense, to unpack all of this for us, is immigration lawyer Sergio Barrow. Good evening, sir, or afternoon.
Good evening, Prof, and thank you for having me.
We are talking about U.S. immigration policies. This is not your first time coming to this platform. We have discussed a whole range of issues over the years, since before we even have the TV, when it used to be just a radio, where we talked about a lot of things. And the policies have changed since Donald Trump took over from President Obama. What are some of the key changes that took place? Policies that Donald Trump is trying to implement?
Well, several. I start to catch up between Trump and then the then Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
Mm-hmm.
But prominent among them was in 2017 when he started with the 8-country Muslim majority ban from entering, and then reduced the number of refugee. When I say refugee, referring to people who are outside the borders of the U.S. trying to come here lawfully, and they reduced their quota. And then, of course, DACA, what Obama actually introduced, and then the ban on DACA, and then TPS status for Haiti and other countries, and then he phased that out. And then, in addition to that, now the most talk about that affect our most Gambian, Senegambian, let me put that way, is the new INA 204, the public charge, the proposed public charge rule, and then. That's something that would affect us. And then the new I-693 immigration medical exam for green card, that ought to be done, what we are used to, and then it's not the same way now. That's something that would affect our community a little bit. And then the internal, when he, reversed courses from then administration. Under the previous administration, Obama deported a lot of illegal immigrants, but mostly felons and then people who are considered security risks or danger to the community. And then for the better part of a decade or two, what most African Gambians, we've been enjoying the quote and unquote the unofficial policy of even with a final order of removal, as long as you don't commit any crime, you're working, you're reasonably safe. We can put it that way, even though we know you are here contrary to the law. And then Trump reversed that, and then he focused more on internal arrest. And then, of course, the chaos that's happening in the southern borders right now, the fact that the family separation, and then designating only a few ports as a port of entry in terms of asylum seeking, and then any other place you come through, you can apply for asylum, even though those things were challenged in court right now. So as we speak, we don't know where that would turn out, and then, what would happen. And then I think the only other major thing that could affect us would be the supplemental DS 5535 that is introduced, additional security questionnaires for people who actually file for their family members. They go for visa interview in Dakar. They would see that embassies would email them back, ask them this information, ask you about every telephone number you ever got or had in the past, and then social medias, Instagram, any other name, like things that you feel unreasonably uncomfortable, talking about. And then they start asking all those things.
So if your Facebook name is Berekunto, like Walabundo Patras, you are expected to give this if you are like applying for benefits with U.S. immigration. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yes, because here's the thing. The problem is not disclosing it, and then it's cutting up in a lie. And then, if they found that, you misrepresented or omit something that you are affirmatively required to do so, now you are facing some inadmissibility bars in terms of immigration laws. Or if it come out in the future, yeah.
So if your Facebook name is Ndokmutoy, if U.S. immigration is interviewing you or you're having to apply any benefit from them, you're supposed to let them know that Ndokmutoy, if they ask you if you have ever used any other name, you're supposed to mention.
Yeah, no. Now what they do, they give you this new form. It's called it's a supplemental questionnaire, 5535, DS55, State Department form, and that would in fact solicit those things. Every social media account you ever used, they ask for it. Every social media account, every telephone number, that was secured in your person. They want you to provide it.
So in our situation, for example, where we have personal accounts and we also have business accounts, we're supposed to provide let's say I will provide the Gambian Talents account as well as the Pa Usman Juf account. Is that what's going to happen?
That's interesting because it depends. If Gambian Talent is a legal entity, meaning it's a registered entity, and then I don't think that would be considered personal. So I don't necessarily think that, you have to provide that. Even though, of course, if I would like, look, I'm a board member to this thing, and then they have XYZ as a social platform, but it doesn't mean you have to provide that. I'm not going to I would advise against it, but we would be forthcoming, let them know that maybe, you're part of, affiliated with something else, but not necessarily provide them with that information. because there could be some legal issues there. That would be a little bit clouded because if it's a legal entity and then Supreme Court says corporations are people, so technically that's not you. Gambia Talent is a person, so I would provide personal account. Yeah.
Wotombela mwenyo la nyoko digandor, anybody going by the name Dohmutoy, wala Berekuntu, wala Wawkong, wala Forochtol, El Salonko, this is the situation. This is additional information that you will be required to actually give to your advantage. It is important that we know these basic things. Mr. Barrow, to fast forward, earlier this year in February, we've seen about 45 Gambians were deported back to the Gambia. That mass deportation. That was the only one we had. Are Gambians still being deported from the United States? Or is it that after the public outcry that has ceased and no Gambian is being currently deported from the United States? Because I just mentioned how the EU ambassador said that Gambians and Africans and immigrants, illegal immigrants, will be deported from Europe. That's what the EU ambassador said. So are Gambians still deported out of the United States, or that has ceased?
February was a dark chapter in our book for most Gambian because that took us by surprise. In terms of the country, for Gambia, as a country, most people were not prepared for that mass removal, and I hope that would be the last of it. But I'm not going to sit here and say that people are not being removed, and then that would be a misinformation. Yes, still now removal happen in our community, just like every other community or every other country that is facing it. Those of us working around, it. The only thing I like about it right now, and then I know it affects families and others, but the fact that people are not making it as a talking point. It's newsworthy in the sense that if you're in Gambia, I'm not going to deprive legitimate news outlet from reporting things like this. Like, if you're in Gambia, it's something like a cause for concern. If your citizens are coming back, what kind of programs do you have for them? But I would rather, people have it, put a positive spin on it. We don't see them as deportees, but people, returnees, our resident citizens who are coming back, and then put a positive spin on it and then help them integrate. But it's actually happening, and it's unfortunate, and then hopefully it would not be as it was in February, March of this year.
From a legal perspective, a lot of people have been blaming the government, and until this minute, even the young people that have been deported from Germany, people that went through the back way and have been denied, like the ambassador said, that exhausted all legal means and need to be sent back home, are actually blaming the government for this. It's for issuing travel documents and facilitating their return by issuing travel documents. Is the Gambia government, or will any government be are they doing anything wrong by cooperating with these Western countries and giving a travel document to their citizens, or for their citizens to be sent back?
From a legal standpoint, if someone exhausts every possible avenue or due process of law has been given, and then, in fact, I would say my point would be, strictly from a detaching emotions from it. I would say your country owe you that legal obligation to make sure they help you go home, rather than languishing here. For me, my argument would be, yes, your country should actually help if they are all the required documents to go back in dignity. That's what I would in fact argue. And then if I were in the Gambia and then a family comes to me and then says that, hey, my son or daughter exhaust all their legal means of staying over there, and then we provided all the information, and then the government is not providing the right paperwork for them to come. I could possibly, from a legal standpoint, I would rather file a suit against the government. Because I would, it goes both ways. Citizenship, governments have responsibility for our citizens. And as much as, it's your job to, help your citizens, it's the same time, during tough times or difficult time, one of the privileges of being a national or a citizen of a country is during hard time, you have someone at your back that would help you. It might not be the best news, but to me, I looked at it legally. Yes, they have a legal obligation. I expect them to comply. Now, I know it sounds a little bit harsh and cold, especially for someone, let's say a family in Gambia. We are all from there, and then we understand how difficult it is. To me, the blame, people put the blame at the wrong time, and then I would rather blame my government for not providing me the tools to stay home rather than, doing something they are obligated to do to bring me back home. Because if the right tools were there in the first place, maybe I would only travel for leisure or because of luxury. That's where, we should address that, but after the fact, like saying that, people spend all these things. And then to me, it's like a client walking to my office and then tell me the extra, I'll be like, I'm sorry, but you don't have any relief under the law. Am I to be blamed? I'll be like, that's just what it is. You understand? And then it's just like, in Gambia, we are going through a constitutional,
review process,
amendment or review or whatever you want to call it, depending on, let's all agree it's even legit we are doing that. There's a huge debate about citizenship clause, who ought to be a citizen, all these things, measures, the government ought to do this, or, birthright. Well, if you are obligating your government to do something, so it comes the other way, because every citizen has a right, and then the government has the obligation to all her citizens. So let's say for some of us, if I said, no, I don't think the government should, at least respect or, upheld some of her duty under international, instrument to take responsibility for her citizens. And then let's say we all turn a blind eye. Don't let them come back, because the remittance. I mean, I understand all those things. You cannot turn again and then argue that, our government is violating our freedom of speech. If you want to, democracy doesn't work that way. So, you are either a Democrat or you're not, period.
Yeah, but what some people are arguing is that, of course, if they are criminals, they can be sent home. Some people were really not criminals from what is being said. They just violated some immigration laws here and there. And of course, the government could help. And according to what we've heard the government said, from when current Vice President, then Foreign Minister, Lawyer Usainu Dabo said, is that they are working diligently to make sure that they are only issuing travel documents to people that are considered criminals. So some people are saying they are not criminals and they are sent home. So are you saying that just by you exhausting your immigration or legal means and you are on deportation or you are inadmissible, that is a good enough reason for you to be sent home?
No, that's not me. That's the law. And then if you are here contrary to this is the funny part is, I genuinely believe, and I sincerely believe 95% of Gambians, that are actually even returned home, I don't think they are criminal aliens. The only thing is they don't have one or two status here. Some of us who work in this area, that is not to say that, we don't have certain things happening, but I'm not going to go there. But I know overwhelmingly majority of Gambians, they just go home because they don't have paperwork. Now, to us, from an outsider, from a Gambian perspective, we think of this as, it's just you are here without paperwork, immigration. The funny part is, if you go, people who are in removal proceeding, and then you are looking for relief, and then where discretion matters, one of the most negative factors that can affect you is violating immigration laws. These are serious consequences. They might not be criminal, there are some, re-entry bars. There are criminal statutes dealing with immigration too, but there are most part, the civil counterparts where people, just voting here illegally or just crossing the border illegally. To us, it's just like, but I haven't committed any crime. It's actually a crime. Those things matters. And I'm telling you, when it comes to discretionary relief, they weigh heavily. Some of the arguments that I even have, like even asylees where discretionary relief matters, where, it becomes a type. The argument, Your Honor, XYZ, Sergio entered the country lawfully. He was inspected and admitted. Yes, he overstayed. But regardless of that, he's a productive member of the society working. And those are the things you could say. You don't say they entered illegally, across the border. Or if people who you are arguing parole, like, look, Judge, my client arrived at the border, surrendered him or herself at the border patrol. He wasn't trying to sneak in. He surrendered himself. Those things, it goes to credibility. And then, it would be difficult to break this thing down to most people, or even Gambians for us to understand. Because if you are not in the system or you do not understand, to us, we just see crime as, but these things, they matter here. And I'm telling you, these are some of the things that, in fact, become a part of many people in terms of getting paperwork. Because if you overstay, depending on what relief you are applying, it could hurt you. So these things, the government consider them seriously because why? They tie it to national security. Immigration deals with border. They tie it to national security. That's why they are very important.
Okay. By the look of things, a lot of our people seem to have, will I call it negligent or use a different term, seem to have the have an immigration problem where they were involved with immigration, either file paperwork that they never finished, pursuing somewhat, somehow, somewhere. I mean, of course, those that were here in the 80s, in the 90s, or in the later part of their lives, and that is hunting them. Let's say you applied for asylum or you applied for something else until this minute, and that did not work. You were not granted the benefit that you were looking for. You just left it alone and did not pursue it. Either you were married and you did not pursue that, or you applied for asylum, or you applied for something else and you did not pursue it. And later that catches up with you, that caught up with you. Is that really what is happening? It looks like, because a lot of people have their cases dating back to the 80s or the 90s, or at least during the first part of the new millennium.
Unfortunately, yes. Most Gambian, even Senegambian, the biggest problem we faced or are facing right now is, during the early risk of migration in the U.S., when we have the first wave of Gambians coming here, the country by then immigration is not what it is today. And then people get comfortable, and then there was a lot of fear, and then, scare, I would say reprehension, associated with applying for benefit, in the sense that, if you live in the Gambian community, and then because we do chain migration a lot, we don't have built houses here. If we are migrating because Pa is in New York, Bronx, it would help me until I stand out, everybody comes. So how you find Pa will determine or will, somehow see how your immigration status will be in this country. So if Pa is someone who is vigilant and then is conscious, he doesn't listen to just hearsay and then actually ask, inquire, talk to legal person, more than likely you will, fare off better. But if you happen to, one of those, you just hear something, you don't verify it, and then you just keep adding more on it, more than likely, you would doom yourself. So what happened is people come, and then depending on where, you immigrated to, you find those people doing one or two things they do. Like, let's say, classic case asylum. People, let's say they have credible cases, asylum, file for it, went to the asylum office. And it's not uncommon for cases. I've seen cases, like very good cases, even on paper, and then evidentiary wise, get referred to court, which in my opinion, I'm like, this ought not to be referred, but I don't know why. Maybe the officer was, not paying attention for whatever reason. I don't know, or they just refer it for the heck of it. Now, case go to Federal Plaza. I remember back in the days, like early 2002-3, in New York, like, oh, no, don't go to Federal Plaza. If you go there, they arrest you, and then you go home. So for somebody, and then that's where the hearings happen, for your removal hearing. So because that's what you hear in the community, and then you believe it, because those are the people, you found on the ground, and then this is what they are telling you. So if they, represent that if you go to Federal Plaza, you get arrested and get sent to Gambia, everyone get afraid. So no one goes. So what we don't know is, in fact, that is more, the consequences of that is far more severe than going there, somehow getting a removal order. Because if you don't go, you end up getting in absentia order of removal, which has a severe consequences, even if you're married here or whatnot. So a lot of people, majority of Africans, this is what happened. They just abandon their cases, no show, no call, get an absentia order of removal. So now when things start getting tough, even with some release, it becomes so difficult to collaterally attack those removal orders and then open it. Even if there is, some kind of program that come in and then they might arguably qualify for that. It's getting difficult. And then for majority of these people, you just can't do anything, or you just have to wait out for those mandatory bars to end, or the best strategy would in fact mean leaving the US and at some point in time coming back with waivers if you have strong ties here, and then family ties or whatnot, or some other form of relief. But I think lack of education is what hurt us more in terms of immigration education, I mean.
I cannot agree any better with you, as you already know, and I've shared the story that myself, I'm a victim of that order of removal in absentia for missing a court date. And I have emphasized this on numerous occasions, that we need to try and get authentic information, because ñun suñ nit yi hearsay kenn mooy gis dara rek dégga dara rek ay finti ay tafo mobe lala ko wole be kering. And from the little I know, Sajo, I think immigration, every immigration case is different. Will you agree? And can you elaborate on that? It's a case by case situation. What applies to Pa Usman may not apply to Billy, may not apply to Sajo, may not apply to Ramo or Hadi. Is that case? Or can we just use one person's example to actually make that judgment go, okay, this is immigration?
No, you are absolutely right. Because even though the law applied all of us, it's the same law, but the law looked at everyone as an individual. Your facts and your circumstance might be different from mine. That's why rarely do you see precedent cases in immigration. Everything is just matter of people who go through proceeding, like matter of XYZ A number. They just put your A number, because everyone is an individual. It's different. Your family ties, your situation. The law looked at you as a person. And then, so if you wanted to use my scenario, my situation, and then classic case is marriage. People would call me, oh, I am told that, if you get married, everything should be done in 6 months or 4 months, but because X happened in that, so what? And then X could, in fact, engage in fraudulent marriage, and then everything is fine and fast. And then you who, are engaged in a legitimate marriage, took longer, it doesn't mean there's any, that's just immigration. It has nothing to do with you. I've seen it both ways. So it doesn't actually mean that, there's one size fit all kind of theory. No. That's why you could say generally this is how it's supposed to apply, but it doesn't mean if you apply it on individuals specifically, every outcome will be the same.
So liñ doon wax rek dafa am ñoo xam ne dañ yàgga tukki ñu ñëw apply kayit whether dañ dugal sëy wala dañ dugal asylum wala any other form of applying for benefit. Some people even dinañ apply ñaari forms of benefit, Sajo. You apply for asylum and at the same time you apply for marriage. I mean, is that possible? And you try to get approved with both situations? Those things do exist.
It's possible. Right? It's possible, but you wouldn't get, it depends, what relief you are pursuing. You could be a non-immigrant and pursuing immigrant status and still maintaining your underlying non-immigrant status. Now, let's say I arrived in the country and then I left my country because of fear of persecution. So I filed for asylum while asylum is ongoing, because asylum take, until recently when they do the last enforced out rule, it took it takes about 3 to 4 years average before you get interview, in 2014, 15 going forward, unless if you're lucky. So let's say, I file my asylum application and then it has been pending for 2 years or so, no interview. And then while that's pending, I happen to get married, and then my wife is a U.S. citizen, I have if I want, I can actually withdraw my asylum application and then just have my spouse petition me, for green card right away. But it's completely my choice. But if I want, I can still file my adjustment application, and then the asylum application will be there. And then once, let's say more than likely you will get interview on those, marriage-based petition. Once those get approved, usually I have cases like this. I'll file a notice and then terminate the underlying asylum here. I'll withdraw it. Most of the time, I'll just file a motion to withdraw the asylum. But I've seen cases where people actually get asylum, actually get approved asylum, and then it gives you a route to green card. They never pursue that route, get married, and then file green card, get green card through, they still have underlying asylum status, and then they have green card on the other side. So it depends on strategy, and then if you have the financial means or what your situation is, it depends.
So if you applied for an asylum, let's go to the LULAC. A lot of people, Gambians, applied for the LULAC back in the days. People that knew they were born after 1981. I knew people who actually even would have applied for that, after, and they were born later than 1981. Supposedly, they were granted work permits and social security numbers, and they were able to travel to Gambia or Africa and come back. But that's about it. The case was pending there. What can you tell us about that? In the first place, can you break down what is LULAC?
Well, LULAC is the name of the lawsuit. It's actually, I believe, a League of United Latin American Citizens. What happened was there was quote unquote some kind of amnesty, temporary resident status, during the time of Reagan. So what he does, just like what Obama did when he made that pronouncement for DACA, that people who were here, I think as of June, the cutoff date was June 12, 2007 or something like that, or June 15, 2007, I believe. So LULAC 2 does the same thing. If you're here, those people who were here from 1980 and then 87 met them here. And then when that presidential proclamation was made by Reagan, they should be eligible to, get temporary resident status and later adjust the permanent resident status. So the requirement is you must be here physically present at the time when that, announcement was made. So what happened was that after that announcement, the enforcement part, people were applying for benefit, and then the legendary INS by then, was turning them down, or for whatever reason, some of them, they would fear of, or misinformation again, because powers applied, they said no. So, it put a killing effect on me, and then I refused to apply. So what ended up happening was this. So this lawsuit was filed for the government to at least, a class action saying that, look, anyone who filed for this relief and then you were denied by INS, or you wanted to file, but because INS, told you that you can't qualify or you wouldn't qualify, now you can apply after the effect of the lawsuit, because the lawsuit happened somewhere, I think, 2005, So people started filing those things, those applications. So what ended up happening is that I remember back in the days very well, in 2005, Brown, people like, oh, Bena program Monyo, LULAC. I have no idea what the hell LULAC is. And people are just applying, they don't even know what they were applying. So the problem with immigration is you send these petitions and paperwork, and then because you would have to prove entry through your I-94. So let's say I never entered here 80, and then I applied for LULAC, and then on the form I represented that maybe I came through Yonigana. Understand? Mexican, the manual Yonigana asked my neck and why, but Genena, like, let's say 1990 or 91, why at least I re-entered again, this time with a visa. But by then I was here, right? So you represented that on the form, you applied, and then, of course, immigration, it takes time before they process this application. So the normal course of action, what happened is, your biometric comes and then your permit comes. Everybody thinks that, oh yeah, like right now it's the done deal. And then the interview times come, or they start issuing RFEs. No one can prove these things. So you start getting denied. The problem is in your A file, now you affirmatively represented that you entered here unlawfully at such and such time, and then you were unlawfully present here. And then you came back again. Even let's say if you re-enter again illegally, you trigger a 20-year bar without even knowing it. So you have now this catch-22. So either you tell them, I lied, which means now you committed immigration fraud. And then you would have to file a waiver. Hopefully, it get approved because you don't know any better. Or maybe you had some notary represent you who doesn't explain to you what LULAC is. I've seen those things happen in adjustment interviews. Some officers, they treat it kind of like, they brush it off, and then some it become an issue. But it comes back because it hurts your credibility. Or in Asylum, if you said, oh, no, I just came in this one time. Like what? You filled a form.
Okay.
You said X, Y, Z. So even if you want to file for a new asylum, now you have credibility issue. So it hurts a lot of people.
So how about those that, okay, after they were called for interview, immigration never followed through with them and they are still here? There are people who whose cases are like that. They are still here. I mean, what is the way forward? What should those people do? You file for LULAC.
Let's say majority of them, because in 05, 06, so for interview, they just denied for abandonment, and then most of those people were not NTA, meaning they were not referred to court.
Okay.
So if you are never sent to court, that's good news. Meaning you just have an application or a benefit that's just denied. You have no removal order whatsoever. So let's say if they are eligible for some form of relief, either through family base, like they are married now, or employment or whatnot, you would just apply for that relief. But you would still have to address that, adverse information in your file. So normally my recommendation to most people that had applied for relief in the past and then they don't have paperwork, I ask them, always do FOIA, get your record. That way you know what's there. It's important to know. You'll be surprised. At least
for the benefit of a layman, what is a FOIA request? I mean,
it's a Freedom of Information Act. Basically, what it does is the law authorizes people to actually request some of the information you give to government for them to send it back to you.
Okay.
And then so for immigration, the easiest way for most people, like layman people, just go to uscis.gov, and then there's a form called G639, I believe. And then you complete that, and then put there all record with, if it asks you, what you put there, all record with USCIS, including evidence of, admission or entry. That way, they could send it to CBP, ICE, EOIR, and then get everything for you, and then they'll put it on the CD and then send it to you. That way, you have every information on every application you ever made with immigration.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. Yeah. We have people in the community sometimes, of course, who are considered the experts. Occasionally, budget is tight, even though so even to pay for an attorney can be a problem. We have people we would consider experts in our midst that would be our attorneys in court, and they help us fill out forms. Yela case deny, nga ñone man mata ñu deny sa case. Is the person that help you fill the form responsible for that, or are you responsible for every information that is on the form?
You are, because if you sign, you certify on the penalty of perjury that you reviewed that application, and then every information there, you know it, and then it was explained to you in a language that you understand, and then you certify that that's why your signature is saying. So, because immigration want to make so people don't come back and scream, oh, no. I don't know what was in my application. Now, oftentimes what happened is we want to help our brothers and sisters, and then this is what I tell Gambians. If you're helping somebody, you one of two things. Don't complete the form for somebody and then not put their, prepared information like it was prepared by a third party. In case, because we all make mistakes. In
but
case
some people, interestingly enough, even charge for these things. They charge to provide these services. The LULAB that we were just talking about, it was a business for some people.
And then you have to put your name there. That way, if information come or error come, then you will be like, hey, I don't remember telling you this. Oh, it's my mistake. Maybe, if something comes, they could execute an affidavit on your behalf and then let you know that, okay, this is what happened. But many at times when they fill these things and then they don't put their preparers information, it's like you completed that form on your own, and then you go to the interview and then you start, oh, no, I don't feel like, well, no one completed these things. Classic example is in Gambia, we all know, only few people have the luxury of having internet at home. So at least I would say 70 to 80% of people complete their non-immigrant visa application at these telecenters or wherever it is, where they complete this form. And I can tell you, other than maybe biographical information, your names and others, these people, they do sometimes make mistakes. They just fill forms the way they think, they are filling. Sometimes they don't understand this information. And then I have more than, I have cases, let me put it this way. I have cases where, some information was represented on those forms, either whether those employees were negligent or lack of communication or people were not focusing. Because I witnessed one where, one of my family members had to use this service, and we were sitting there. I never, represented them. I'm a lawyer, completing this form. And the lady was explaining her story, everything, and they were like, oh, no, this is how we do it. And then I just keep laughing.
So the person that is doing it, the person that's doing it was saying, no, this is how we do it.
Yeah,
claiming
they
to know
do
it.
that once. Yeah, so, and then I have seen embassies, consular officers would specifically tell, applicant that something happened on the form. No, these people don't make mistake. If they put something there, you ask them to put it over there. Many people get denied with non-immigrant visa, other than the arbitrary nature of the consular officers. But half the time, the form is inconsistent with what you're going for, and then the officer don't have the time or the luxury to explain that to you. They just look at the form, they find something. If they are nice enough or they want to be civil, they can engage in a conversation and let you know that XYZ is spotted out to you.
So things as little as even how we write the date. In Gambia we write the day, the month, and the year, and in the US we write, day, month, and year. Things like that.
Yeah, those things, all those things matter, because to them, they believe that you review that form and then every information is accurate. So if they see something, instead of alluding it to mistake, because they don't have time, the line is going. So they don't even bother they just give everybody that blanket 214B and then go your way thinking that it's just lack of time. Sometimes it's not even that. Some people, they keep compounding those mistakes, and then you end up hitting a bar, and then you don't know that until some benefit is filed on your behalf. And then now it starts biting you. I've seen those things happen.
Let's talk about that. Applying for a visa at the embassy. Now a lot has changed. I remember when I was coming to Gambia, to the US, you just go to Standard Chartered Bank, you pay the money there, they give you a slip, you go to the embassy and submit your documents, and they give you a date for an interview at the embassy. Now it's different. What's the procedure, and why are so many people being denied visas?
I always tell people, I was like, all the visa applicants that are in Gambia for American Embassy, if we form an asusu and then give, put that $160 together and put it in bank, you would have no idea how much money they could set up their own credit union, and then their life would be better. Because the consular, I don't even think they are issuing 5% of visas to the applicants over there.
And how many are they required?
No, there is no quota. That's the thing. There is no quota for a non-immigrant visa.
Okay.
For permanent migration, I think the U.S. quote and unquote take 1 million, but I think Congress authorized about 600 and something or 700 and something. But yearly, the ceiling is 1 million people are immigrating, meaning with permanent residency. But for non-immigrant visa, there are no quotas.
Okay.
But of course, they looked at their budget, they looked at the fiscal policies, even though there is no official limit, but I'm sure they would have some kind of internal mechanism how they control these things. But absent that, Gambia, when I looked at from 2017 to 2018, I think from March to May 2018, the number of visas that were issued by the Gambian consulate to Gambian citizens is shocking. When I looked at State Department, sometimes student visas, especially, they would only issue one.
Really?
One student visa in a month, like two. Wow. Seriously, yeah. And then these records are there, people could access it. And then I have them in PDF, and then maybe I would just share it on YouTube. People would see for themselves. The only visas they give in Gambia that I saw are other than the A1s and then A3 or the G1s for officials, that are going for this UN and whatnot. B1 visas, if Gambia is lucky to have a lot of B1 visas issued to Gambian national throughout the world with Gambian passports, you are looking at 37, 40 a month. In a given month, like if it's like that, that's like a lot with Gambian passport. At the Banjul consular post, you see something like 27. So it's only B1, B2
with all the people that apply for visas, they give, less than 30 visas.
Yeah, so that's what you are looking at. So it's insane. When I looked at those numbers, like you go to Senegal, and then I do a comparative, I print out Gambia, I print out Senegal. Senegal would be hitting 200, 300 visas. The Gambia is at 27. I can understand,
what is responsible for that, though?
Well, I guess the consular believe, in their opinion, they think most people don't prove their, non-immigrant visa requirement, in the sense that, they would come back. Maybe that could be the reason. But my thinking is, now I'm telling people, before you do non-immigrant visas, you ought to make sure you put all your cross all your T's and then dotted all your I's, to make sure you don't spend $160 for nothing with all these payment fees and whatnot. And then even with student visas, you can meet all these requirements. I see genuine people who, in fact, have partial scholarships and whatnot, and they will be going to school. Counselor just deny them without much. They don't even review sometimes. I think that's something Gambians should, look into. And they were like, look, we would only apply if we have to. But the kind of money they are raising in Banjul, to me, I believe that money is, maybe that's half of our money would come back to us at American corner, and they make it look like US, because people are actually giving that money.
So if somebody is going to look for a non-immigrant visa, student or B1, what advice do you have for them? What is the most important thing to consider?
Well, ties to country,
Okay.
but let's say you just graduated from grade 12. Because it's just insane, or it baffles me to think that you would have ties to the country, because you just barely 18, 19. So the only ties you would have, unless if your parents have the source of funding, like if you have parents who are well off, they are the ones sponsoring you, or a close family member, like a direct uncle, not just Gambia, everyone is uncle, but an actual family member who is sponsoring that. And then maybe that would, resonate with the counselor, like, okay, the funds are there, or even deposit wouldn't make a difference. But if they see that, okay, this is a close family member, and then they graduated with excellent results, there's a high chance that maybe the parents are educated, that would factor in there. But let's say, you graduated and then been in Gambia for 5, 6, 7 years progressively, and then you haven't done any tertiary institute, you haven't done completely anything. Maybe, you are doing something in the sense that maybe hustling here and there. And then all of a sudden you just get I-20, you want to tell the counselor that you are going to study, and then more than likely the chances of denial are high, because you are, in your home country, you graduated, you have not been productive for the last 5 years. There are tertiary institutes in Gambia where you could have attended, and then none of those things happen. The counselor is not going to give you any visa. Or I'm going for a visit, you don't even have a solid job, or progressively work for at least 5, 10 years. And then if I tell people, even Dakar, if you're going to Senegal, I know we utilize our ID so often. Everybody, you don't need visa. But I tell people, if you're going to Dakar, you are better off using your passport. Let them stamp it. Okay. You go to Guinea-Conakry, use your passport. Let it be stamped. Let the counselor know that you have been traveling.
Okay.
And then coming back to your country. Because IDs wouldn't show those things. Now, the good news is now some part of the form, if they give you the supplemental questionnaire, I would ask you, within the last 5 years, list every country you have traveled to. At least that gives the counselor, of course, that there's a security requirement for that too, but at the same time, it advises the counselor, what other places you've been.
So back in the days, I remember it used to be called frequent travelers. Melkataikana all the time. Does that help? You travel to America once, twice. Does that guarantee you to be issued a visa again? Because I have people that have traveled to the US who came to the US once, twice, and then they were still denied, and it is shocking. What do you think will be responsible for that?
Now, before, people enjoy that. If you're a frequent traveler, you come to the embassy and then your passport is stamped so often they give it to you. And then now they deny frequent travelers. I've seen that happen. It's just, it depends on the consular officer. Nothing is guaranteed at Banjul embassy. That's what I said, like most African embassies. That's how I looked at it. But even Brazil, you'll be surprised how many people get tourist visas coming here and then going back. Peru, when I looked at comparatively to other countries, and then I asked myself, what are they doing that we don't have? Like, do they trust them better than us? But nothing matters. You could have all these qualifications, and then they still deny you. And sometimes it's just arbitrary over there. I guess they just believe genuinely the concept that this is what I understand for me. I know that it has politics to do with it more than the law. You have an embassy in a country. If you believe that 90% of us don't meet the requirement to come to your country, why bother even putting those visa requirements? They are robbing us daylight. That's how I looked at it. If why even give those visas? And then Gambia, the only thing I saw, we only saw B1, B2. From alphabet level, you have 8 almost, I think, VPs. We don't see any of those things. Like other countries, like maybe our government in terms of, E2, E3, 3D investors. I think our foreign departments should engage or liaise with US department and let them know that, look, maybe you could do E2. There are other Gambians who are, a little bit well off. They could set up investments here back and forth. Because we've seen people, they are going and coming, Commonwealth and whatnot. They do what? They could have done it in the right way, look for, B1 visas strictly, or look for E2, some kind of investment, because now we have a lot of Gambian stores in the US. And then that bought directly from the Gambia. But those are avenues, they can explore. That way we have those kind of visas available to our people too.
You are watching the Gambian Talents TV. Pa Usman Diouf is your presenter. Lawyer Sajo Barrow is my guest, and we are talking about some of the policies of President Donald Trump and how it affects us Gambians. The show is live. If you have any question for Sajo, you can send them in. Number to call is 678-608-3322, 678-608-3322. If you are in the US, if you are in the UK, 161-818-7077, 161-818-7077. If you are in Sweden, 08559-26651, 08559-26651. This is the Gambian Talents TV, and we appreciate those of you that are watching us through YouTube and those of you that are watching us through Facebook. Somebody Ture said, well said, my brother, had it been the right tools were in our disposal back home, no need to come here and toil. Responding to, of course, what Sajo said earlier, that, of course, a lot of Gambians are traveling because the right tools are not there. Nyantamen soto na banko kono, nyantol ma soto, liñ wara am suñ biir de kay amuñ ko, motax ñuy génna di ñëw bitim réew di daan doole, di modu modu wala di faatu faatu. Kon loolu lañ nekk di waxtaane Sajo, suñ jigéen ñi na musol, jama kana janne, kana futu, kana dingo soto. Some of these things, Namol Bajirale, are sensitive things because I've done immigration discussions in the past and I've been crucified by some people. Muna nebe nyim for whatever. But ya kumayata lenga nying kacha ñu waxtane yi pour ñu xamut ñu xam. Ndax bari na ñuy joge Gambia, ñëw bitim réew, ñëw America pour wosin si, pour seen doom yi defin, ñu wosin rek delluwaat. Ñëwaat te fekka ñu ngi use American hospitals, ñu ngi am pending medical bills and the like. Ndax loolu mën na am an impact on us in the long run? It can be a cause for concern.
Definitely, it has. In fact,
go ahead.
Yeah, and the most talk about public charge. You know, that was just amended recently. You know, the proposed rule that came out with public charge, getting all these, cash assistance, benefit, food stamp, or TANF. Now, let's say even before those things, if you come here deliberately and then give birth and then you don't pay the bills and then the government fund it, even if you have a valid visa, 5 years, you leave. If you're coming back again and then that comes out, they will revoke your visa upon arrival. You know, because you don't need a visa at the U.S. Embassy. But once you arrive at port of entry at the airport, normally they would just revoke your visa. If you're lucky, they would give you the choice of withdrawing your admission request, go home. That way you don't have any bar. But if you're not lucky, they can put you into expedited proceeding and then remove you right back, and then that would give you a 5-year bar. You know, in addition to that 5-year bar, now you are faced with that inadmissibility bar because you use medical stuff here that you can pay. So unless you apply for some kind of waiver, it will be very difficult for you to come back here, get a visa. That's one thing. Now, but if you come here and then you have a child, but you were responsible for your own bill or your insurance was responsible for it, and then the reason you came here was not just to circumvent the law, just give birth and then, the child become a U.S. citizen, but because there's a genuine concern for medical issues. Maybe your home country, your UIO advise you of a critical condition, your pregnancy is somehow complicated or somewhat complicated, and then you don't want to take the risks, and then you are someone who has the means, the ability to pay for your own stuff, or you have a powerful insurance, yes, you can come here and then pay for it because your health is important, your safety is important. There's nothing against that. But if you just come here and then give birth, now in addition to this public charge, it can affect you.
Because I mean, even whether Minister Lembang, President Ola Muso Lembang, a lot of our people, Melkanajang, certainly, Bukela Fansum bills, they don't pay for their hospital bills. We come and we register with, the county, the community health centers, whatever, and we go for our regular checkups until, time to give birth, and that's it. Bilol Bukajono, that used to be very common, and it still exists. What advice do you have for Musol Melkanajang Kana Futu Wala Auto? Kana Dingo Soto Jang?
No more question, I think, because but let's say, Nina Raja Dingo Soto. You understand, and ya neko iman pilol jono. Anything murcha back home. Nunto ya understand molka nka menke pride comme ni fita da ke dingo ruta jang American, you just rush to the embassy ko ke dingo register pour mo yaran ka wada America, not knowing that actually they fan set up can, because in here register mo fen call so that they would flag you. It is recall no la embassy, see call no la na ila visa from revoke. Okay. You understand? Yeah, so ni dingo so jang. You understand? Ni mutra. Ni be travel landang woto ni dino be doing hanya tra visa be bulite la famura within the next 2 years or so. Ini dino Canada. And anything me around Coloptan, Fengol Lenjang, in the Nepal, Fengol don't have any of those things with you because neither at the port of entry, second port of side, any now Jackie Ballon that you understand. And when you need the no Minakan visa to American citizen, the first question of being Carmen and you would have did you pay for it? You might be able to dinner with protection. So dinner will go work in the Ophilia, Yenana, that way what Isu Canana. But in the know that I have 7-8 years. Of course, what is not reasonable, yeah, for my loptan kaito le, mobile loptan kaito mabonya. Yeah, understand. So it depends on the like age Benjamin, what you might have now. So those are some tough calls in marriage and Jamaica because I see affect no. Or Hania Tre Utajam, Imuta, and then in another cotton. Let's say came a citizen of a pay file, Imuta Gambia Utajam. And then unless he came on insurance yojo or Janino Choka mid fight Janema any ties to the Jaiman below Joe. Then it came a file and then it had a card. They can still deny you like green card, because of this public charge Femponi. If Femponi used it's conceivable, denied. The husband has to do a waiver for came and those things can come up. Because no form of fighting also the whole nationality. So
exactly. I think it is important for us to address this. Most of the time, we don't know. These people will not just ask you information just because they want to get information. For the most part, there is a reason for every question on that form. Is that right?
Yes.
There's a reason for every question on the form. So if we are asked, sometimes there are discrepancies or inconsistencies in the way we fill out these forms. For example, if I apply for a visa from the American Embassy in Gambia, and I put there that I am married, I have kids, and all of that, and I come here, of course, I want to get married to another person, and yenyininka on my form, mane musuma say, musuma am jabar, musuma am dom. Is there a recipe for denial?
Yeah, or if you're not careful, in fact, that's borderline fraud, misrep. More than likely, not only would they deny the application, but they can even NTA you. Or if you are lucky, you understand, depending on the service center area, they would just send you notice of intent to deny. You are inadmissible because of XYZ. And then if you have a lawyer at that time, if you are smart enough, you would just respond with a waiver application right away. But that could be fatal to the application because it goes to credibility. In fact, Gambia can make a model for most of the time. In a dependent area, they in fact attack the validity of the current marriage in the US because they can argue that that marriage is, null and void when the man contract actually because neither koila embassy for Monyimbala, if you and you never declare that go put one in terminated that divorce happened. So what end up happening is that if you apply for a relief here or a benefit, you understand it, or they argue or you are still legally married to the first wife that was on that non-immigrant visa form. So any marriage is not valid for immigration purpose. So they just deny the I-130.
Goto ñun ñoko déggandor lu am solo la ñu bari ci ñun dañ dé fogg né dañoo jaay gaaw suñ nekké Gambia we think ne jaay gaaw rek mo ñoo mëna génné through certain things. We can talk our way out of situations, or we forget very easily. Paper trail. Tubabi su ngeen gisee ñu gom paper dafa am lu xew. Su ngeen gisee ñuy buggal lu nekk nga binda ko ci kayit because of things like this la. Of course, you are in Gambia, you applied, okay, you have a wife, you have kids. That is going to count as your country ties, Sayo, right? Okay, ki amna family fofu nono ki suñ ko joxe visa su démé dina ñibisi wat. It can work in your advantage fofu to your advantage at the time. But by the time nga ñew America, apparently yaa ngi bëgg dugal kayit. Mit nga benen goor wala benen jigen ko bëgg séyal. Fofu nono, what should you do? Si lu Sadio wax, then if you are applying, da nga need pour submit a divorce certificate pour yow ak sa jabar bi nga amone Gambia wala jëkkër bi nga amone Gambia, right Sadio?
Yeah, you have to legally end that marriage. Otherwise, you are setting yourself a failure.
Okay. Some of our followers on YouTube actually also made some comments. Seko Kamara said, of course, this is what they always said. They said, who is ever committing a crime, you will be deported. And even here, if you did not do anything, as far as you are Gambian, they will deport you. that's a big one. They will deport you just because you are Gambian. So, Yusuf Ture said, but before they deported, think you need to reason. So come and say, what I suspect is that they have already taken something from the European Union, therefore the deportation will be done. Sekou, this is the same question that we've asked the EU ambassador the other day. I made sure that our reporter told the ambassador to look in our camera and tell the Gambians if the EU has given money to the Gambia government, and the ambassador was laughing, actually, just like you are laughing, Sergio. The ambassador was laughing. I said, look in the camera and tell us if the EU has given the Gambia government money for you guys to deport our citizens. And yes, the ambassador looked in the camera and denied it. If you want, we can send you the links, the same platforms you are watching us on. Just 3 days ago is when we published this video. The ambassador is denying, is saying that the EU did not give the Gambia government money to deport our people. What happens is they have put together certain things such as the YEP project, the OMF project, and other projects that are geared towards helping Gambians that are deported to be integrated. Pour ni murundi nang su ni nata is fenso de beme mutala. The youth empowerment project is one of them. Ni nata ye domandin dila. It's a juso nyabumenna. Teach them skills, give them loans and other things that they can actually use to integrate back in society instead of just coming there. The Tamba ambassador, and that is there. I think he went further to say, Barrow government is not coming up, truly speaking. We don't have a president, Bilahi, always sleeping. Whatever comes on his way, based on document to sign, he will sign it on without checking. Now, it's interesting how we put everything on government side. Maybe you wanna add one or two things to on that.
No, those are politics. Yeah, I understand it. But this is what I tell people. You understand? Let's say, let's in fact agree to EU or even the US, they give money to the government to send our people back. This is what I tell people. You understand? Do not put your cards in the hand of government, saying that the only reason I'm in the US because my government refused to give a travel document. That's the wrong move. You understand? I keep telling people, if that's the only move you have, it's over for you. Yeah. So I don't care how much money you mendi na masakunda. Hanya try million le dealer. As long as bijane due process le follow. If you be demo, if you have a lawyer and then ila rights so may exhaust or you have relief, it take 2 seconds already. You know, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. Because I seen people, Malayalam with removal orders, you still get court, so we've seen those things happen. Judge will be ice order like a moon then I'm back. Yeah. So in terms of the only thing make a if you do criminal justice, removal to many Gambians, you understand? I come in prison system. It became for so long. One of the even Bulala in prison the last 3 months, they came out in what they call GP area, can rehabilitate, reorient back into the society. So until make a mojama is Gambia even collateral. But the difficult part is coming to terms with reality. I'm coming to Gambia. It's so overwhelming because you're not prepared for it. So that counseling part, that's in fact what's more sympathetic to me. They don't have a game plan. They don't have a plan as to how like Americans when they are getting older, they do estate planning for their end of life, like funeral thing. So we just see ourselves in things, and then it becomes difficult to handle it. What I tell people, some people, and these are the realities, you have to assess yourself. Sit with an immigration lawyer. If I see in my case under the current laws, there is no other way because maybe I hit a mandatory or permanent bar. You have 2 options. On the previous administrations, internal arrest minimum crime, the world months here, people are not removing people back. So what you do, like this new administration, reporting this is what I would ask myself. Do I want to take the chance in somebody detention or 4-5 months or would my game plan be to prepare for any day I can go to Gambia? That would be my fallback. But when they come after me, I'm not going to make it easier for them. But I need a travel document sort of fine, You understand? Or I am not going to waste 3-4 months in detention for something. I can be productive somewhere. I'm not going to wait for that. But you have to have that contingency plan. And this
so
is
in other words, I mean, you can start sending things. What you are saying makes a lot of sense. Man hamna ko hamne sajo. Of course, I was in detention with him. He was my roommate. A Gambian was my roommate in the jail 10 years ago. Immigration detention. Earlier this year, some 6 months ago, he was sent back to the Gambia. It was just he just went to report, and he never came back home. This is somebody that is very responsible, working hard, making money, has a credit card, over $30,000 credit card that he was paying very regularly. He was on top of his game on a lot of things. And honestly, it's not that he has a criminal charge. Of course, like you said earlier, he's exhausted his immigration options, legal options, and he was just here. Every year renews his work permit and works, pays his taxes. He went to report every year or every 6 months, however much. But when the changes happened, he was sent back to the Gambia. It was shocking. He has a car here that he could have sent back to the Gambia. He has, unfortunately, he wasn't married or has kids, but he has a car, he has an apartment, he has several other things here that he could have used. When I talked to him the last time, he told me, my credit card, I don't even mind genuinely to have used it to purchase merchandise, to start up something in Gambia. I will be in Gambia and still be paying for this credit card. But because he was in jail for the amount of time that you said, for 5 months or 6 months, whatever, apparently he wasn't making the payment. By the time he was going back home, the credit card got cancelled. This person got to the airport in Gambia and has to even borrow a phone to try to trace family members. It was shocking. It was sad for him. He lost everything. Ala moto, wanyama, ala apartment, like that, lanyaki apartment, credit card, Halis bineka bank, he didn't have a trustee, or somebody that can, a power of attorney, somebody that can take this money out. He doesn't know. In that situation, Sajo, is there any option, advice? What do you think that person may need to do? Credit card, all the other things, apparently apartments and everything, you are going to lose eventually if you don't pay them for 5-6 months. But what advice would you have in that situation?
The only thing, bank account, credit cards, some of them might be secured, what they call secured credit or whatnot, depending on. But let's say a credit card, 30,000 credit card limit, and then let's say he used about 10-15, meaning he has a debt of about 10,000, 15,000 credit card companies. And then I moved to a bank account. Whether he likes it or not, they would file actions in court, even in his absence, try to get those money. Credit card companies would come after you, either through these collection agencies or sell their debt to attorneys. At the same time, what I always advise people, if you are on a removal order list, near more trust, you understand, it's a power of attorney dealer, or if you are married, dealer spouse. In Gambia, this is a sensitive area. People don't like to do it. But it's very important to have joint account with your wife. Joint account with survivorship rights. And if something happened to you, automatically your wife joint ownership just expanded, and then they have access to the account. No credit card companies would garnish that as if to support you. But now, if it's only in your name, and then you are in Gambia, and then now, all these problems happen. Let's say you are on a car note, and then you fail to pay, which, they would use the car as the collateral. But if that doesn't satisfy the judgment, they would sue you for the remainder. So, accounts, they can freeze it. And then at the end of the day, you might not even be able to get those money in your account. And then now, I just saw, 5 days ago, this thing came up out of nowhere. I saw an alert from Chase Bank saying that, a proposed rule, they always keep the user agreement. I don't sign it without reading it. And then I was reading it, and then there's a new change that just became effective, I think, in September, saying that any person, if you have an account in the U.S. with Chase Bank, and then you happen to leave, you end up passing away in Gambia, coming like any country outside the U.S. you cannot get access to that account without having that death certificate being probated here. That process, lawyer, it was so scary. And then I was like, okay, maybe it's about time I add my sister to my account.
So you cannot access
December holiday, and then you just die there, and
and all of a sudden, yes, you
you can't take those things. Even they bring this, and now you have to go through probate, and then before you get those money.
You see, that's very important, Sajo. What you just mentioned. Us Gambians, we don't like to read, and it's very important. We keep on signing stuff, signing without actually knowing. Just like the guy was saying about President Barrow, it's kind of a little funny, but we like to sign things without actually reading. And you just made mention of it. Even the banks, they are trying to catch us somehow so that they'll be able to. Because like Sergio said, you will spend a lot of time, to actually, and resources to get this thing taken care of. It's very important. But let's go to our women, Sajo. Nyaka tota, haraf, jigeni de haraf, fini. Not long ago, I saw you put out a post about that. Is there any change in the law about circumcision, female circumcision or female genital mutilation in the U.S., and how does that affect our people?
Well, still now, when in terms of asylum, people are filing, based on this horrible harm that happened to them, it's still cognizable. Unfortunately, under Jeff Sessions came with a law, a matter of AB, where domestic violence is no longer cognizable, coming in spousal battery, mostly from Southern America. Most of those asylums seekers, they file claims based on domestic violence and then common law marriage, spousal battery, and then Sessions is saying that that's not a cognizable basis. But interestingly, that decision Kasinga, affect in terms of FGM or Haraf for African people of sub-Saharan Africa, because basically the argument is these things or these alleged harms happen because of immaterial membership in your ethnic group or cognizably even religion. So it's not just domestic relationship. So at least it survived. But now in 2015, Gambia, courageously passed the Women Amendment Act.
I was going to ask you about that.
So banning FGM. So now that's a weapon the government use here in terms of their argument. The argument is now, it depends on cases, how they, arise. Now, if you have an African from the Gambia or Senegal or from, Guinea-Conakry or whatnot, someone who suffered, past persecution, meaning they have undergone this horrible harm. For those people, at least, with the medical report, you can, you'll be able to meet your initial threshold, burden under the law. Now, government lawyers, they can always argue because of that fundamental change in Gambia, that change in law, there should be no well-founded fear of future persecution, so which means they should still deny you asylum. That's the fight now, or like a tragedy for most of these people. But, of course, if the harm was so severe, you would still qualify for humanitarian asylum. You can still escape on that. Those people, there's still hope. And then, of course, credibility matters. And then the other argument would be, since 96, FGM was criminalized in Senegal. And it's still, a viable cause of action. So Gambia, the whole thing would come to how that law is enforced. Right now, we don't have pure mechanism, enforcement mechanism. I wish we can, but from a personal standpoint, forget the asylum. I think, the only way we can actually drive FGM out, it has to be an attitudinal change with us, the generation, you understand, to take an affirmative step to stop it.
Yeah,
but other than that.
But then, Sajo, with our people, just like what we said at the beginning, a lot of our people get scared about things that are being said and being rumored, or certain things that happen, and we just jump to conclusion. So when that law was being passed, I saw a lot of Gambian women here who actually, whose only resort or option of getting benefits or getting their situation adjusted, their only waiver was actually to apply for asylum under the FGM category. And at the end of the day, Jamaya Mira Nubari Fogne, well, it's no longer available. So are you saying that it's still possible for one to file?
Yeah, it's still a cognizable case. It depends on, it's still viable. It doesn't stop FGM. The question becomes whether you have a better preparation for your case. Right now, especially with all what's happening, you in fact need, assistance of a counsel to help you, prosecute FGM cases. Now, it's going to be a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I am, 25, 30, or even 40-year-old, someone from the Gambia, no past time on FGM, none in my family members. And then my argument is now I'm filing because I'm afraid with this law, more than likely, your case would go to court. I don't think asylum office will grant. They would refer it to court, at least give the government an opportunity to argue. Mm-hmm. So it all depends on where you live. Is it because asylum, what people fail to understand is a subjective and objective. Subjective part is, do you genuinely believe that this harm would happen to you? If you do, credible testimony is enough. Of course, put in a reasonable person here. So objective standard.
Actually, I don't mean to cut you short, but a lot of people argue. How does that work? Is it because it happened to you, that's why you are filing? Ko ite fangoni murta, you're gonna be hurt, or sometimes is it because you have a female kid that you think that if the person goes back, your female kid goes back to the Gambia, they are gonna be harmed. Which is which?
No, the harm must happen. It depends. Asylum, you can get it because you suffered past harm or you fear future harm.
Okay.
So Mele and Lonko, they suffered past harm. They already underwent FGM. They're saying, look, this happened to me. I already suffered the harm. So what in the cases mean, even with a medical testimony, before this new Women Act, it's almost, a slam dunk. It's very favorable. Unless in credibility, you understand it. You would have a visa application, and then they come and impeach you, thinking that maybe you, in fact, those things, unless those things come negative factors. But absent that, you have a very, very strong case. Now, even known to many islands, they don't even undergo FGM. If they are saying, look, I fear that if I go back, I would go without no legislation in the Gambia, and then the prevalence of FGM in Gambia, it's still a very good case, strong cases. You understand? But now with this new law, and then what most people may understand, because asylum since 96, when IRA was enacted, you must file within 1 year of arrival. So let's say Temu Musodi from Gambia, and then Nadajang, and then I had past FGM. Ma file 1 year and down. You understand? And then you were here for 3-4 years. Then you Demuso sort. So that Demuso is a trigger. Just restart your clock. But you cannot argue asylum file because because since 2008, matter of 80, you can never file derivative asylum claim based on the thing on the code. They will just deny you. You understand? That's just the law. But Dingoning, Ibo used as a trigger, a clock. Because look, something new happened in my life, a change circumstance. But this new change, what clocking, I can tell correct. You just go on your own again.
Okay.
You file again based on the family past persecution. You just want to excuse that 1 year pre asylum also.
No.
You understand?
Okay.
Of course, then they want to harm you can argue that in the sense that look, a lot of Canadians saying so you want the court to be sympathetic to denying the potential harm Mexican within the court. Now, of course, in 6th Circuit, there is a case law, any mother who is faced with a clear danger of FGM, they qualify as a refugee, but that's only in the 6th sector. But that case, Hanisa and government found because you go case name because it's a Somalian case, and Dinonyo was not an American citizen, so he didn't Vital. So there was a case law that came after that case trying to distinguish it. Okay, didn't know more American. Amajara didn't know even though Barney did not have I didn't know guardian in Ajam or the other family member, Badamaimo. So there were 2 cases from Jeng is from Senegal. Yeah, Jeng denied specifically because I didn't want US citizenry and my uncle sold the I didn't want to remember. That was the Jeng case against Solda, and then that was a recent case. So it depends.
You are watching Gambian Talents TV. Pa Usman Diouf behind the mic. My guest is lawyer Sajo Barrow, and we are talking about American immigration and how it affects us Gambians. Musa Kurubari said, very constructive dialogue. This is what is needed. Thank you very much, Musa Kurubari. We have Yusuf Ature said, remember too, some of us Russians are Gambians, so can we have a number for Russia to call? That would bring me to appeal for help. For those of you that are watching, our platform is a public broadcasting network, and of course, registered as a non-profit, and we definitely appeal to you. Those of you that are watching, those of you that are following us, it is through your help that we are able to actually finance this institution to be able to continue to produce the programs that we bring for you guys. So, For those of you watching on Facebook, if you look right next to the comment section, you will see a green tab that has a love sign, a heart in it. If you click on that, it will tell you to support Gambian Talents, and you can subscribe to our channel by donating to us by contributing $5 every month. It doesn't matter where you are. Those $5 subscriptions, of course, will help us. Facebook realized that we spend a lot of time and resources to produce these programs, that having sponsors for Gambia is definitely a big deal. And as a result, they want us to be able to sustain what we do. As a result, they ask us. All the programs you see from Gambia. Yesterday, you were watching the demonstration that happened at the National Assembly. This morning, you guys watched the budget speech by the Minister Mambure Njai at the Assembly. I mean, we bring you a lot of programs from the Gambia, live and direct from our studio, the interviews we have, the events by the Gambian musicians, and other religious programs that are happening. The Christians, of course, just last week, we were in Kunkujang Mariama on Sunday to cover that event for you. Christmas and New Year are coming. We have the Semester Avenue show right now. Our religious programs, earlier you saw it, and it will be nice for us to continue producing these programs. It costs money, it costs resources, the cameras we buy, the microphones we buy, the headphones we buy, the lights we buy, and the credit we buy, and of course paying the staff that bring you these programs. So by donating to us $5 every month, those telephone numbers you are talking about, matter of fact, we pay for those $10 every month for each number. So having 4 or 5 numbers is $50 every month that we are spending just for those, plus the calls that we make. So please help by contributing for us. The show is live. 678-608-3322 for those of you that are in America. Sajo Baro, I ask you, if the state you live in America has any impact, because some people think, oh, Seattle mo gena bah, wala haral madem Atlanta, haral madem New York. No, New York duñ dé deport ken. Haral madem fele. The state or county you live in, does it have any impact on applying for, when you apply for a benefit or a relief, or it doesn't? Because they was sanctuary city. What is a sanctuary city, and is it helpful to live in a sanctuary city?
We use the term, but legally there is no such thing as a sanctuary city. In fact, it's illegal to harbor, alien smuggling. They sue Catholic churches, file suit against them. But I know states use it as we're a sanctuary city. What they are trying to say is, look, federal government, we are not going to enforce your immigration laws for you. Cities can do that, counties can do that. They can be like, okay, we're not going to do an immigration check for you. So meaning if I'm driving in New York or Seattle where, they don't do immigration check or stops, even if I have a removal order, it wouldn't affect me. They would never report me to ICE, So it depends where you are. That's what the concept we mean. But it doesn't actually mean the law doesn't apply there. The law actually applies everywhere. And
so living in Seattle does not help you. So I mean, in New York, removal proceeding, you are deport, you are on an order of deportation or supervision. Moving to Seattle, which is a sanctuary city, or California, is not going to help you, right?
No, okay, if you run into federal agents, because they have federal agents over there, and then maybe they might be looking for you, especially with someone with a removal order. If you had prior contact with ICE before, and then you could rest be assured that maybe you are already under a program called supervision. So if you're supposed to report, they don't see you, of course, they will start looking for you, or they could give you a name to what they call the fugitive tax force. They will come look for you. And then that's what they do. And then some of them, it just depends. Some people might be lucky, they don't come after them, but it doesn't mean, just because you live in one city, that's why. Maybe they are overworked or they have more priority cases. Eventually, they will come after you when they have time. But
you use that word fugitives, and it just reminded me of my case back in the days when I moved from North Carolina and I was ordered deported in absentia. I didn't know about it. I was in Atlanta and they just came to pick me up. So it was that fugitive, whatever body you talked about, they're the ones that came for me actually back in 2008. So,
yeah,
so moving to Atlanta wasn't helpful at all. It didn't take care of any situation, and I think it's important for our people to know some of these things, Sergio.
Yeah, the only thing in courts, of course, those will cost, like if you are in Texas, now if you're in court, that makes a difference. And then you want to be in New York, where states that are a little bit more liberal. You want to be in California if you're in court, because the likelihood the judges, they will be more sympathetic to immigrants. You don't want to be in Texas, or you don't want to be in Atlanta, or North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. You don't want to be there for asylum cases. Almost they deny. If the nation, like New York, most judges are giving 70-80% approval rate, and then you go to Texas or Atlanta, it's almost 85% denial rate. It's the reverse, complete reversal.
Okay.
So those things, yes, you want to forum stuff, of course. If you have to.
So it doesn't matter. You can apply anywhere. You can transfer your case. You have a pending case in and transfer it there. Is that possible? Or do you have to wait?
Anywhere you move, you file for a change of venue to make sure your case follow up, where you are.
Okay. Yeah. Social media. I remember October 5th of last year, 2017, they came up with this new policy, of course, where they will start using social media to look for stuff. And from the report that I heard, they were even going to look at your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even your Google search, just by going to Google and searching some keywords. All of those could be used from what I saw. What can you tell us about that?
Just be conscious of what you put on your pages, because if you are applying for a benefit now, this supplemental questionnaire, either for non-immigrant visa or immigrant visa, they can ask you to complete that. And then now almost I have cases in Senegal where a 7-year-old kid, they give them that supplemental questionnaire. Like, are you for real? Like 7 years old, you want to know how many telephone numbers they use, every social media platform they've been on, their usernames. Are like they're 7 years old.
So what type of information though? If they say they look at our social media, what type of information are they looking at? Are they looking for?
I don't know. Possibly things that would make them think that you might be a security threat, or in the opinion of the Attorney General, that you should not be granted. They should just deny you entry into the U.S. because of security or terrorist-related issues. So they have broad discretion. So that's the only thing. Are you someone who is prone to, I guess, gullible to this other, issues, or are you someone who might harm the U.S.? So they would look for that propensity, like someone, we want to weed out potential people that will harm the country before they even get here. So that's the only rationale I can think of, or some other things.
So if you are making threats or writing certain statements on your Facebook post, I mean, just having fun or sharing certain things, let's say discriminatory statements against people, things like that, would those things be, would it be things like that they will be looking at?
Possibly, and then it depends. But I know they will look everything in context. That I believe that even potential bars, like maybe your social media account could bring that you have 3 wives, and then your application only have 1, and that could be a basis to deny you. So you don't know. Or you supposedly joining your husband, and then you already had 2 weddings, and your people are congratulating you in Gambia for some marriage that doesn't even look like your husband. Or your kids. I mean, it's hard to say,
Okay. So in short, let's be careful.
If you are information you put out, just put truthful information on your social media. That way you don't have to worry about what is there. Just be you. It's always, you might not remember details, but the truth is always easy to remember. That's something you fabricate.
So, talking to you last time, when you coming back, you travel to Gambia and you are coming back. It's December. A lot of our brothers and sisters are going for holiday. If somebody goes to Gambia and they are coming back, and for some reason, what should you do?
If you're, it depends on how you wanted to treat it. I always tell people to be careful. If the question is designed solely for admission purpose, trying to find out whether you are admissible, like, okay, where have you been? How long were you there? And then those kind of things. Yes, those questions I would answer, but you don't have to go more, If you are not sure, you are better off exercising your right not to speak. And then if they wanted to open your device, tell them, look, must I, give you my phone? Are you requiring me to do so? Because I'm not going to consent to it, even though, the law is that, border search and seizures are considered administrative search. But I rather reserve my right and then have you violate it. than, just voluntary turn things out. Like, are you requiring me? If you're asking me to volunteer, no, I'm not going to volunteer. But if you insist that I must do it, I'll put it right, yeah. But at least you make sure you put that record. And then other than most people I suspect are permanent residents. So those people, at least you have some due process right. I'm not going to talk to you, period. Other than anything that has to deal with pure admission. But if you start, going on a fishing expedition, asking all these things, I would just respectfully decline. Like, look, I would rather talk to my attorney first. Even though, of course, the law says that only citizens have right to lawyers at border entries. But as a permanent resident, they're not going to refuse you entry. The worst they can do, put you in proceeding. So what? Be it, because they still have to prove that you are removable. So don't give them anything. So your lawyer might easily just file a motion to terminate, and they're not going to hold you there forever, because you are not the mandatory detainee. So you are better off at least comply. You can't yell at them, because they are not going to give up authority. But they're asking you, how long were you outside? And then I would answer that question. Oh, I left. Okay, where were you? Yes. How long were you there? Have you committed any crime while you were outside? No. Those things goes to admission. Maybe they are trying to see whether you are admissible or not. Those limited things. But once they start going to, what were you doing on Facebook, or those questions go, things that you don't understand, just decline to answer those.
So how about if they want to get into some of the things? Let's say they see that, okay, you have a DUI crime or you have a domestic violence crime, and those things pop up for some reason, and they want to bring that up to you. Should you answer those questions?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. If they ask, let's say they ask a question like, have you ever been arrested? That would be yes. What happened? I'm not going to disclose everything. Like, look, I don't feel comfortable sharing the detail of the arrest, but yes, I do have that. Period. That's where I would end. Or, you want to make sure that, you want to avoid making a misrepresentation that can come back and hurt you. Because they would have those things, because they have your biometrics and everything. They have access to all of those things. Now, sometimes there are certain crimes, if you commit here and then you leave the country, if you come back, you would trigger inadmissibility. Maybe that's the reason why they are asking for that. But you don't want to give them something that's not even part of that crime. So I'm like, have you heard? Yes. And then what happened? Tell us, no, I'm not comfortable discussing that with you.
Okay. A lot of us think if we have a green card, permanent resident, we are good to go.
Green card is not a mean to an end.
Okay. So how about citizenship?
Citizenship, at least that one, if you have it, you're right applied. The only way they would take that from you, meaning there must be some kind of fraud or illegality or a material misrepresentation in procuring the citizenship. But absent that, or if you get it under the Military Citizenship Act, and then you are not a person of good moral character, I think within 3 or 5 years, they can actually rescind it, because they expedite those people. But other than those issues, once you have those things, you always get it.
So your crime as a citizen has to be related to how you acquired the citizenship, but not, let's say, you having a DUI or domestic violence or something else, if I understand.
No. If you're a citizen and then you kill somebody, it doesn't matter. Well, it matters in the sense that you spend the rest of your life in jail, or if you're in somewhere else, they can kill you, but that doesn't affect, it doesn't have anything to do with the way you procure citizenship. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Finally, Mr. Barrow, this issue of the social benefits that we have. Mojama Benkono, when we come here, just like we said, some people come here and rely on the government for insurance. Obamacare definitely is helping a lot of people. Some community health centers and clinics will help our people. Some people that would pay, a co-pay of, let's say, $30 per visit, or $10 a visit, or $20 per visit, and the rest will be taken care of by the county or some non-profit. Or you have Obamacare as insurance, or you have food stamp benefits, housing benefits, and other benefits. There is an audio that is circulating on WhatsApp that's talking about people that are being arrested at the border or when they came back at the airport, etc. What can you tell us about this new policy?
Well, the whole law, if you look at it, the public charge, traditionally, what it used to be is like people who actually were dependent on government for more than 50%, or you have like a caste benefit, you receive certain caste benefit, then those are the people who the law would find you somehow inadmissible, and then you have an issue. But now, with these current charges, what the language that changed there says anyone who is likely to become a public child, which means that's completely discretionary, Now, people with this housing and then benefit, tariff, weight and whatnot. USCIS officers, because if you're applying for green card or you are applying for citizenship, if they want, they can argue, inadmissibility under public charge under Section 212, I think, 4D. Let's say they say that, look, we think that you are someone who is inadmissible because you're a public charge to the government. There's a criteria, there's a guideline.
Would it be okay? You've ever had it? Because some are arguing that okay, if you ever had any public benefit, you can be inadmissible.
No, because if you look at it, people can go to USCIS and then they will see it over there. The law says that if you are someone who had it in the past, this is a factor. The factor there is not discretionary. Like the officers have to look at the factors. And then for some people, let's say you had it 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right? And then since then you never have, public benefit. So it will be difficult for the government to say that you will likely become a public charge in the future, because you don't have this benefit for so long. Just because you had it in the past doesn't mean it's a guideline rule that, they will just deny you. That's what people need to understand. So there's a factor, like a lot of factors that officers must look into, like your health, your age, and then family ties, all those things. Like Namero, for 55, 60, you don't expect those people to work. Those things factor there. They are cognizant of those things. They put those factors there. People have to understand. They can't work anymore. They are 55, 60. So they will actually become public charge or the only be support. So those things are there. They are cognizant of that, and then these factors are there. So the officer will look into those factors. Now, for people, they take this benefit with green card, they leave the country. As long as you are coming back less than 6 months, you are not seeking admission. So it doesn't matter. You have benefit that stop. But if you spend more than 6 months outside, if you are coming back, the law says you are seeking admission. So those things will come into play. The worst that can happen is, Haniko, you are inadmissible. Not yet is green card, they can NPA you. They'll just let you go home. They would have to prove that green card in but the idea that coming a jail with that audio, I don't know how, it has to do with something other than that. That's what I know of.
So if you had food stamp or week in the past, it is not recipe for you to be deported or for your legal status to be taken away.
No.
If you are
a statement like that would
so how about if you have it currently?
If you are receiving it currently, it depends. Let's say I'm in fact totally dependent on the government, right? And then everybody agreed that I'm a public charge. But if I do not leave the country and then I'm not applying for any citizenship benefit, it doesn't matter unless the government come after me affirmatively trying to take my green card, and then they would have to prove something. You understand? The only time these issues come into play is if you apply for admission. Let's say you're a resident, you are completely dependent on the government, and then you deliberately apply for citizenship, then it comes up. So that's the time it would be an issue seeking or in deportation proceeding. But neutrally green card, you are content with that, and then if you travel, you don't do more than 6 months. When you are coming back, you are not triggering admission requirement. So no one is reviewing whether you are admissible or not. It doesn't matter.
So it has to be 50% or more. You have to be dependent on the government.
But now if they put a lot of these factors, so it's difficult. That's why the law is so vague. More than likely you have a challenge ballot. Because they just put likely to become a public charge. Who is likely?
Okay.
If they're receiving one benefit here, or are they, if they are receiving more than 10%, 15%, neutral caste benefits for people who are, normally 50% dependent on the government, those are traditionally the one. The interpretation, but now it has changed. So among enforcement, we'll see what happens. I haven't seen a real test case yet in my practice, so hopefully not.
A lot of things happening under Donald Trump. You think America is a safe place to live for immigrants to live now?
I still think it's safe. The future is bright because we have, cost very much independent here, and then due process is adhered to. So at least going to safely, that's our only, drop line. Left to community executive power is supposed to know. We would have seen something different. The only thing that kept us going, and then in South the only thing that fair, well for immigrants is because the courts are strong, they are independent, and then due process young got respect. That's the only thing, that's our only fighting power we have right now.
Your final words to our viewers and listeners. We've been here for almost 2 hours, but we've exhausted some very important topics. Or you have anything else that you think it's important message that you want to share, or is there any particular thing that I know I hear and get calls and messages from people about some of these things, not only for America, but even Germany and Europe. Like I said, that's why we put the question to the ambassador a couple of days ago. But in your case, is there, I know you receive a lot more messages since you are an attorney, you are a counsel. Is there any other thing that you want to address? Sometimes I see you write on your page that, hey, I cannot do this. I cannot come and talk to all of you at once. But hey, I will come and talk to you guys through this platform or that platform, or do this or do that. So what other thing do you think you want to talk about, if there is any?
No, the fake rumor, like this audio on WhatsApp, when it get out, people are sending it to everybody. My thing is, when you are in doubt, don't be cheap for your own thing. Pay, Momo without every state there are lawyers. Go see a professional, pay them their consultation fee, and then ask them. At least you'll get the right information. I understand. And then that's important to, if you're in doubt, pay the right professionals. Sit. Nila Kodo is not valid enough to ascertain Nila Kodo. It doesn't, any consequences you have later, you can't blame people about that. That's my thinking. So if you're in doubt, ask for, expert opinion. Taye, Mariana, they are the professional lawyers. Meet them, ask them their questions and everything. And then if you can do that, reach out to people. The lawyers provided pro bono. Ask them questions. Sometimes it takes time for me to respond to any inbox, but if people send it to me, I do my best to answer. That's one thing. And then the other thing is, know your immigration status. And then you should know, this is like one of those self-realization checks you need to do. Check your status. If you know there is no hope legally, start planning some things for yourself. Don't sit here. The blame game is not going to help you out, because one way or the other, I promise you, the law will catch up to you. And then even to a lawyer, we're going to do much about it. And then before you realize it is too late, you end up blaming, and then it will be late. It's just like being in high school, and then you don't want to be, sober with your studies. By the time you is grade 12, and then you cannot undo it. And this is real. It's tough. It's difficult. My prayer, but assess your situation. There is no hope. Have a contingency plan. Don't wait until it caught up to you, and then the blame game. Life will continue. People will move on, and then social media, I can promise you, it's only 15 seconds fame. Then people will talk about you, make like they empathize or work with you. I can promise you that only lasts for a day or two if you're lucky. At the end of the day, you come back to people like us, and what can we do? Because like it's blame the government. It's not going to take you anywhere, because they just wait for a proposed day or two, and then they are out.
I was going to ask you to actually summarize the few things we discussed in Mandinka, and I'll do it in Wolof for the purpose of people that don't speak, because these are key issues that we talk about, like the issue of FGM and the social media and this public charge. If you can summarize that in Mandinka. Yes, if you can summarize that in Mandinka.
Maybe we'll have to set up another Mandinka sort with Wolof translation, maybe sometimes next week or so. Because I have some work to do.
Just 5 minutes after it's important. I'm recording that to actually send it out on WhatsApp, because it came out and a lot of people are freaking out about it. Just like you said, we have our mothers who are our mothers. They are here. Walam Famal, Mede Alonko, Inatale, Ibesirinjang, and of course they are depending on the government, like you said. So if they hear things like this, it will freak out. So for the purpose of those people, don't Afomandia Kangola Dukare.
Yeah, come in them program well and come like first thing first I need kibaro moy. Go yeta mo nyine ka meli alan ko ibo do ko la ye kumo bondi nyoto ya faham. You understand? Because ni ko bila mo la fen ko la rek Gambian dunga ko makili moy WhatsApp fen ko ni kama kata viral ba kila nyoy there is no credibility me nyoki jo fara la wala fanya ta stop. You understand? Ye kumo moy mal la you know send it to someone who professional ya fa hey nka nyine moy ten or send to the platform atul membe je ni akiyale na look. You never focus reach out to the right people ali yin ka fon mu tonya te banjani be ñoo fala ke faro la community ñu kom ya understand those akumta ko bunda soronte ko man lu wa ko ni finde da jani kar woro bunda ka to yele na ne bu ka soro bare ni tuta banda fa mo dan kar woro amna ko bunda soron ina de be ko control kala mel be ko to ko yebula ka dunna bare jama kere tiol hanni mam bunda yele ko de dunno la nam because ya mera ko mi mata kundala be de dani kam ite bayno la korda o kon ite du peren jimba wala ibe suti la kuma dila na le na ko kata ko bar mode sen no la korda bandala that's what it actually means ni aji be the whole something so mode kan de la band isa fono ne ite meta bandala ko mi ni ko ni tara sada kono ken ye tara suwo kono de ni man na ten ni na de bila la bandala ko dak ne de bayna wala bar ko mi bongo na me bi tera hawo ni fono ke dan sina ko sada ko we don't forget to like it. That's what it actually means, basically. Or ni mari bi jay matra citizenship apply kan make sure of or at least but lu afane men fo je dol bi jebe sanjo jibe la le ila ke bayal anira do ko fen ko ka jibe fo ni fo nyata ni do afon apply le to do you understand ni mo me do ko ka afon ni ke abe ay fen ko di mata kunda la federa sare ne to of course mata kunda la nyata tek yala fa that's the bargain wala na you paying the social security and all these medicares and whatnot so they will look into that because it afala don't ko driver because it contribute to yeah do it do ko le ya do you know so luaka adula be de ma ke ko mi abe kala je su wandi
ila banda men ko la tubabu kan woto wala mu ko ni be jang adung e yela ko be kele for example you are on immigration proceedings e la fide sayindi la ye fen ko marin bale fo isa fo no nyamandi ka kan woto drong nyanta me kala nata ite alon ne ko sainde ite man sila soto pour ibe kayto soto no la nyame nyi banko kan nyanta mo nekela lawyer Sadio Barrow
comme momo nyanta na la subi so no be nyame ni tare ni lawyer ka jare ko lo banko la loi en me ko ite o handi bi jana ko sandi kemi ni le kayto soto no la frek ya understand o ko tema so ite nyanta plan la ko okay look masakunda is a matter of time jani be futa lamba sai de be mine keno la kam fam ma ko ba make sure la jani be muraya nga ku ke wodo o mbet na plan be kala mine dinga sey nte ko ko mo le bon kana si yere la ya ko ambetu la jane manda sey la because masakunda da kayto dila o manya na kala plan because loi de jate sudi ya jama ke sudi andon loi ni ni na te noma e be send eventually mo jama ka wala lona ya so ni da see that you wato but ko loi catch up to you and they send wala ka mo jama badani because ima plan and we take see no and ni see de kuma ta ko okay be ma ko la blame la be ni blame la melo kana ka denk lo mu defé wala kile kile fala le ni la wala haji de ke de balon la ni na te la next batch but ni wona ta ko den be ke advocate ko de ye filiji bari nyante ma ko la time ne tokal so ko le fo mo jama ina ko ni te a non ko la status bete ni de keno le e fan de ma ye ku ke bari ni to ke be lo la le for last minute ye kela then yana blame jenge tele be patala because I can promise you mel from ka bala fe tiri kele na reki wol nyina tela wol man genuine bala faso de e be feel like and we will continue la balu wala de jamal se da Gambia February March I'm sure kabiri media way media hype me sort of February March moli amro tamane kata hani bin to be ndu ko lan to ngala na suda tili ngolla bungol kono be duri na molbe murukan bayala media matro bandika hani media forma murkata o modol nyine kala bolo be nyaade mol nyina tela we use it as a political point nyina tela so on tikol ko moli so mol bole kala ye fili jetel be batal yeah so it's unfortunate it's sad but bole be kala mari la nyaade fam la ko to patola don't rely on anyone
Woto kumata bake lawyer Sadio Barrow abaraka bake we appreciate you coming on the platform to talk to us abaraka bake
thank you pa
mbokk yi ñoo déglu di ñu seetaan yéen a ngi seetaan Gambian Talents TV Pa Ousmane Diouf nekkal leen ci gannaaw microphone bi lawyer Sadio Barrow mooy suñ guest tey of course dégg ngeen ko lim fi jot a wax dégg ngeen waxtaan biñ am ak Sadio it's important to note li nga xam ne moom la fi wax yëpp dégg ngeen ne ñu ngi ko doon laaj ci digganteem ak American immigration li nga xam ne moo nekk di go on ci jamono ji liñ nekk di wax ne Gambians yi dañ leen nekk di wala immigrants yi nekk America fii nii kon dañ nekk di am problème si dëkk bi fii nii loolu lañ doon waxtaan ak moom nii kon dégg ngeen li nga xam ne moom la fi jot a tontu li nga xam ne moo génn ci weer yiñ passé nii mooy ne dafa am loi bu ees bi ñu wax ne dafa génn am ku defar audio sax nag ci WhatsApp bi di wax ne Gambians si wala Africans si wala immigrants si nekk bitim réew te ñi nga xam ne ci nguuri Amérique lañ depend nguuri Amérique ñoo leen a toppatoo ñoo leen a jox ñu lekk li ñoo wax food stamp wala ñoo leen jox fiñ dëkka wala ñoo leen jox insurance pour suñ feebaree ñu mun a dem lopitaan wala dafa am xaalis boo xam ne dañ la ko dee jox li ñu dee wax cash benefit every month pour ngay dem ñu laa dogal check di la ko jox wala vouchers ñu ne kat soo génnee dëkk bi ñëw dañ laa jàppa lawyer Sadio Barrow dàqana loolu mu ne loolu kat du lu am loi bi Donald Trump dafa wécci loi yi biñ ñëwee ne koo xam ne am nga bénéfice yooyu dinañ seet sa affaire kisi ko war nañoo mën a seet sa affaire kon war nañoo mën a seet sa affaire soo nekkee likely public charge bu njëkka li nekkoon si loi yi jamono ñoom Obama ak ñooñu loi bi dafa waxoon ne kat su fekkee ne yow da nga depend si government bi 50% mooy yow sa dunda suñ ko seetee sa xaaji dunda genn wàllu dunda gi nguur gi ñoo la amee sa bil si yëpp soo ko dajalee wala li nga am yëpp sa ferement yi ci weer wi su fekkoon ne $1 la juróomi téeméer bi yëpp genn wàll gi nguur gi ñoo la ko ameel yow su boobaa war nañoo mën a seetaat sa affaire pour ñu nangu sa kayit wala su fekkee ne da nga am kayit da nga nekk am let's say passport naka green card nga bëgg kayit citizenship passport war nañ laa mën a deny based on loolu su leen neexee waaye Donald Trump dafa ñëw wécci ko léegi dañ faxas loolu ñoom ñu indi bu ees ne su fekkee ne ñoom foog nañ ne yow nguur gi war nañ laa mën a amee wala yow ci nguur gi nga bëgg a depend pour ñu war a mën a nangu loolu sa loxo su kon loolu du lu taxaw mu ne su fekkee ne da nga tukki nga dellu si waat te defuloo lu mu juróom benn weer bitim réew soo dellu si waatee li ñoo wax admissibility yow dafa mel ni bunta yaa ngi ibbeeku pour yow soo ñëwee dañuy seet sa dossier rek jox la waaye soo fa defee lu mu juróom benn weer ak lu ko ëppa soo ñëwee dañ la war a admitaat dafa mel ni foog am ku la ibbil bunta yi xaal la yoon wi pour nga dugga su boobaa nag mun nañoo gestu lii ñu kisi ko te mun na laa lor waaye su fekkee ne yow am nga sa citizenship ba pare wala yow green card nga amee sax te yow amuloo benn benefit soxlawuloo immigration amuloo ñoom affaire lijjantiwuloo leen apply loo si ñoom benefit soxlawuloo leen ci dara kon li affectut la kon loolu lu am solo la pour ñu xàmmee ko pour ñu ràññee ko loolu mooy li nga xam ne moom la Sadio Barrow wax ci loolu ñaareelu mbir mi nga xam ne wax na ko muy affaire yi social media muy Facebook beeg Instagram beeg Twitter beeg Snapchat beeg ñoom seen ne léegi nguuri Amérique dañ commencé di gestu loolu mu ne moom am na kiis bu mu xam koo xam ne ñu am juróom-ñaari at sax ñu war leen a dugalal kayit amin nga leen a laaj ñu ne façon yi téléphone number boo mos a am yépp bu gën a ñoo xam téléphone number boobu loolu pour ñu gestu sa affaire la su dee benn téléphone number ñaari téléphone number fukki téléphone number nga mos a am si sa life sa giiri dunda bu gën a ñoo jot téléphone number boobu noonu ñaareel ba sa Facebook social media su fekkee ne mburumu tooy nga tuddee Facebook su fekkee ne ranxa bi saab nga tuddee sa boppa su fekkee ne daj dopp nga tuddee sa boppa wala loo mënta tuddee sa boppa rek ci Facebook bi wala any other platform ñu ngi laa laaj nga joxe tur yooyu noonu so ñaari mbir yi laa laaj muy supplementary application form bi mooy sa tur bi nga tur yi nga mos a use yëpp ak téléphone number yi nga mos a use yëpp pour ñu gestu sa affaire kisi ko ñetteel bi mu tëjee mooy soo xamee sa boppa nit ku nekk war ngaa xam sa boppa war ngaa xam ndax yow war ngaa mun a am kayit si réew mi ndax war looy mun a am kayit su dee def nga fi benn at ñaari at fukki at ñaar fukki at fanweeri at ñetta fukki at te mu óor la ne yow li nga war a lijjanti yépp lijjanti nga ko waaye mënulooy am kayit si réew mi for some reason jeexal nga takk yow amuloo jabar wala jëkkër ju la mun a fayalal kayit yow mënulooy dugal benn façon ngi asylum parce que mënuloo koo proof yow amuloo dara loo mun a def pour am kayit ci réew mi fii dërut yàlla rek ngay xaar te fekk yaa ngi am deportation proceeding bul ko sàgganee jéema la def sa kéemtalaay kàttan nga seet naka ngaa mun a lijjantee pour génn si dëkk bi génnee sa bopp ndax lu mu yàgga-yàgga dinañ la génnee ndax soo toogee di xaar ne nguur gi ngay blame comme li ñoo def lu bari comme ni ma ko waxee ne ñu ngi wax ne xale yi ñoo delloo Gambia nguuri Gambia dañ leen jox xaalis European Union dañ jox nguuri Gambia xaalis wax naa leen ne ambassadeur European Union bi dàq na loolu barki démba ne loolu amul ñoom joxuñ nguur gi xaalis pour ñu delloo si benn Gambia mu ne li auto wóor mooy képp ku nekk Europe te amuloo benn këyit amuloo benn miin exhaust nga sa legal means yëpp dem nga si loi yoon yi la loi jox yëpp exhaust nga ko te mënatulooy am këyit su boobaa Europe dañ laa delloo si sa dëkk kon Sadio loolu laa wax ni ne xeddee ko ci balaa ngaa lakkale su dee yow da nga toog mu óor la ne yow mënatulooy am këyit ci dëkk bi bul xaar gaay di la jël si commencé di def say am matuwaay di jël say matuwaay boppa soo nii dee su dee da nga fi amee ay oto ak yenn bagage yi soo ko waree jaay ko soo fi amee kër toppatoo ko soo amee ko óolu jël ko nga def ko power of attorney nga xam ne bés buñ la dellooyee wala suñ la jàppee moom dina la mun a faylal loolu noonu moom dina la mun a jàppale pour moom mu toppatoo la sa bagage yi su dee sa kër néeg la su dee sa kër la su dee loo amee woon sa biir néeg la wala loo xam ne da nga ko soxla value luñ la mun a yónnee Gambie ñu yónnee la ko luñ la mun a jaayal fii yónnee la xaalis bi ñu yónnee la ko raara dan nga toog noonu rek soo munee ñafe bu baax liggéey sa ñaari liggéey ñetti liggéey o whatever dajale xaalis pour préparer sa bopp balañ laa delloo jël noonu te fekk expect loo ko woon balañ laa delloo ji te expect loo ko woon kon nga jéem a préparer sa bopp xeddeekul ci balaa ngaa lakkale balaa ñoo toog di blame nguur gi ne nguur gi ñoo tax lii nguur gi ñoo tax lele mu ne social media Facebook beeg yi xew ni yëpp tamit nit ñi dañ laa jàppale rek de benn fan ñaari fan dañ laa jàppale suñ la jàppee comme depuis March wala février Gambien ñu delloo woon ñu bari ñu ngi leen a delloo ba tey media bi leen toppoon di cover ndax media boobu ba tey ñu ngi leen a génnee media bi sax toppatu ñooñu dem si ñooñu seen kër yi seet seen affaire seet si liñ nekk ndax intégré nañ ci société bi ndax delluwaat nañ ndax ñu ngi si jàmm ndax media bi si boppam defatuñ ko social media ñi la doon jàppale yëpp ñu ngi continuer di dund seen life so yow soo toogee fii di blame government bi waxtu bu nekk wala foog ne social media buzz gi fa nekk ak li ñoo wax ci yow moo tax nga kontaan wala mooy li ñaa jàppale loolu is a temporary thing li mooy li nga xam ne moom la Sadio Barrow wax fii gannaaw bi nga xamee ne jot nañ xibaar yi wala laajte yi nga xam ne yéen a ngi ko doon laajte pour bugg a xam li xew suñ diggante ak nguur gi fii nii ak li nga xam ne mooy xew kon ñu ngi koo bëggee di ko gërëm bu baax a baax si waxtaan bi nga xam ne Sadio def na ko fii ñu ngi koo gërëm di ko sant def nañ fi ñaari waxtu ak ñeneenti minute biñ fi toogee ba tey pour leeral yi nga xam ne moom lañ doon leeral yëpp ñu ngi leen ay bëggee di leen gërëm li ma leen wax si gannaaw rek yéen ñi ñoo seetaanee Facebook su ngeen seetee di ngeen gis benn button bu nekk foofu green button bi next to seen comment section bi green button boobu mooy pour ngeen subscribe $5 rek every month pour ngeen jàppale ñu pour ñu dépasse plateforme bi Gambian Talents $5 romb $200 ku nekk ci yéen ñu nekk Gambia sax mun ngeen koo def su fekkee ne yéen a ñoo bëggee su fekkee ne yéen a ngi kontaan ñu ngi leen a jàppale di leen xàmmeeloo di leen ràññee di leen indil professionnel seeg ñi nga xam ne ñoo xam pour ñu leen a jox xibaar yu wóor xibaar yu leer ñu ngi leen a ñaan pour ngeen jàppale ñu su ko defee plateforme bi gën a mën a dem kanam ñun public broadcasting network lañ nekkuñ commercial institution te for that reason yéen ñi ñuy seetaan yéen ñi ñuy déglu yéen ñi ñuy toppa yéen a ñu nekk di dépasse te di différence di nga xam ne moo utalee kii seetaan ak ki nga xam ne membre la ci public broadcasting network mooy contribution bi kon yéen lañ yaakaar pour ngeen jàppale ñu yéen a nekk di dépasse lii seen alal laa demee moo tax seen bët lañ bugg a xoolee seen gémmiñ lañ bugg a waxee seen nopp lañ bugg a dégloo kon jàppale leen ñu by supporting us by donating to us su ko defee ñu gën leen a mën a indil programme si comme ni ma ko waxee si gannaaw ñu ngi nii di am programme bi alias si bés bi indil nañ leen GPU programme bi fa amoon indil nañ leen budget speech bi si National Assembly bi démba demonstration bi fa amoon indil nañ leen ko lii ma wax leen si EU ambassador bi li mu wax indil nañ leen ko ST Brikama Boyo ak yeneen artistes yi bi ñooy launch seen album yi ñu indil leen ko weekend bu passé ñu nekkal leen loon Kunkujang Mariama pour suñ mbokki christian yi ñetti semaine si gannaaw ñu nekkaloon leen Dobson Street pour cover leen gàmmo imam Muntaqa Faye bi kon ñu ngi leen ay déggee di leen gërëm leen santa Pa Ousmane Diouf moo leen nekkaloon si gannaaw microphone bi share this video wala audio bi du la wàññi yow waaye dina yokk keneen ku koo déglu am na koo xam ne dina si mën a njëriñu ñu ngi leen ay déggee di leen gërëm di leen santa fu ci waaye nekk ci ñeneen ko ñi àdduna penku xaar ko ngopp wala ngalandu bañ dellu si waat fii ci beneen jamono jërë ngeen jëf